Hi there, it's Debbie from celestialastrologyhealing.co.uk, and today I'd like to talk about the new moon in Sagittarius tomorrow. That's Tuesday, the 12th of December at 23:32. That is Universal Time GMT. If you're new to my channel, I'm Debbie. I work with Hellenistic ancient astrological techniques using the whole sign house system, and sometimes I blend that with modern astrology. So I welcome any new viewers to subscribe to my channel if you're interested in me doing more offerings of my astrological knowledge that I've been passionate about for many years. Thank you. If you're able to do that, it doesn't cost anything, and you can unsubscribe at any time, and then you get a notification bell. So let's talk about this new moon in Sagittarius. I'd like to share a screen of the Archer, the Sagittarian Archer, and have just put out some of the keywords that are related to this time of the year, this Jupiter-ruled Sagittarian season, as we lead up to the festive time of Yuletide and winter solstice in the Northern Hemisphere, summer solstice in the Southern Hemisphere, and Christmas, if that's what you celebrate. So this is a lovely image here of the Archer. We've got a feminine Sagittarian Archer here with her quiver of arrows, and she's just released a bow, released the arrow up into the heavens. So what Sagittarius represents, remembering we only get one new moon in Sagittarius every year, and it's always at this festive time of the year. She represents, or he represents, this sort of expansive energy where we use that positive, philosophical, broad-minded, positive and optimistic energy of expanding our horizons, whether it be physically through travel or whether it be through using the higher mind of finding truth and understanding and expanding our knowledge. So Sagittarius, as I was saying, is ruled by Jupiter, the largest planet of the solar system. He's like Santa Claus that can bestow good fortune and rewards and benefit us and give us lots of things in a positive way. He's like the jovial planet of the solar system. And obviously with that sense of exaggeration and indulgence, we can all be aware of how we can potentially go to the excesses at this time of year with Jupiter ruling Sagittarius. And at this new moon, we've got the sun and the moon conjunct at 20 degrees Sagittarius, 40 minutes. I'll show a chart co-present with Mars, and I'll bring up a chart shortly, and I'll go through the different signs of the zodiac. If you know your time of birth, it's always worthwhile listening in for your ascendant, which changes every couple of hours. So it makes it more precise for these interpretations. If you don't know your time of birth, you can listen in for your sun and your moon and see which resonates for you. So let me find this other image that I like to share of Sagittarius as well. Here we go. This is the centaur with the arrow and the constellation of the stars. And at new moon, it is a dark moon. If we think about new moon, you can't actually see this crescent of the moon. We're at the very darkest time of the lunar cycle, which is over about 28 days. And the new moon represents a time where we can plant seeds in this dark soil, which can come to a germination and a culmination point when the moon in Sagittarius is full some 6 months later. And that will be, I believe it's on the 23rd of May, 2024. So it's a time of using your intentions at this time of year, thinking about what you would like to germinate in your life. And this will depend upon your own ascendant sign and which area of life this Sagittarius new moon will be. I'll share another image here of the houses. This is the houses, the 12 houses of the body of the solar system, and it represents different areas of life dependent on, we start at the 9 o'clock position here, which represents, oh God, I hate that. When I do my annotate tool, it's my pet hate. Here we go. The 9 o'clock position on a clock represents the first house. So this is very much about being at the helm of the ship. The first house, if you've got planets in the first house in your own natal chart, which is my passion to share natal chart readings, this is really about you, any planets here. So for Sagittarian ascendants, the new moon will be happening in this house. Then we go round the wheel. I'll let you read them. I don't want to spend my time talking about the houses, but this is quite a helpful chart. And actually, maybe I'll share it in the comments below. And I will also share how to cast your own chart using whole sign house system with free data on astro.com. So let me now talk about this new moon and the chart and the planetary weather. If you bear with me 1 second. One other thing I'd like to say about Sagittarius, it's a mutable yang outward energy, masculine expressive sign of the zodiac, that positivity, that sense of expansion, freedom loving, changeable, restless energy, positive energy, adaptable energy, loving the outdoors. These are all very much Sagittarian traits, and it will stimulate those sort of higher ideals that we all have within us. So this is a chart of the heavens, exactly new moon here in Scotland at 2032. That's universal time, so adapt for your own time zone. I'll briefly point out with my annotate tool some of the astrological cosmic weather. So here is a sign of Sagittarius here. And as you can see, there's a stellium here with Mars co-present under the beams, which means within 8 degrees of the sun. So when a planet is under the beams, it tends to be slightly weakened. But I would say Mars being in a fiery sign of the zodiac, already being quite a warrior, passionate, assertive energy, I think this is just going to add more fuel to the fire, maybe a little bit more impetus and impatience around this energy of the new moon, where the sun and the moon are always conjoined exactly the same degrees and minutes, 20 degrees Sagittarius, 40 minutes. So this is happening in the heavens, is stellium here. And then we've also got the sun and the moon will be moving into a square with Neptune, because Neptune's at 24 degrees Pisces, 54 minutes. So Neptune is otherworldly, nebulous energies to do with sort of faith, spirituality, creativity, inspiration from other realms. It's like trusting in the universe to help us. It can be high imagination, it can be high creativity, romance, trust, but also that every sign, every planet has more of a shadow side, and the shadow side of Neptune energies can be confusion, delusion, fogginess, mistiness, just an unsure direction where things are just too floating around like in the ethers. So when there's a square to this new moon, there can be some confusion around the finer details, because Sagittarius tends to do things with broad strokes, looking at the whole horizon, taking everything in. And with Neptune squaring there, a square is a slightly trickier aspect of sometimes obstacles and challenges. That Neptune energy squaring the sun and the moon in Sagittarius would suggest that we need to take care to make sure that we've got the whole picture and we aren't being confused with rose-tinted glasses, looking at the positives without the reality to ground us here. So that's something else that's happening around the new moon in Sagittarius. We've got Venus recently moved into Scorpio, where she will remain until the 22nd of January. She was in Libra, where she was in her domicile, the home, the temple that she ruled. She's now in Scorpio, where she's known to be in detriment. So Venus related to our one-to-one relationships. She may be a bit more armored up, as if she's ready for battle, because she's in a Mars-ruled sign here. So just be aware within relationships, close relationships, of any sort of combative energies, although this might bring a little bit of passion and intensity, because Scorpio is a very deep, sensitive, passionate water sign of the zodiac. So feelings can run deep here with Venus. She will be making a brief sextile to Mercury, who is stationing to go retrograde. So you can see Mercury there. There's a very brief sextile here, but because Mercury is going back the way, it's sort of moving away from that energy. So actually just ignore that. It's probably not that significant. But Mercury actually about to go retrograde from 8 degrees 28 minutes Capricorn will be returning back into this house of Sagittarius here. Returning to Sagittarius on the 23rd of December. So when Mercury is retrograde, Mercury is the planet to do with the mind, the intellect, plans, travel, ideas, documents, writing, communications, journeys, and also mercantile projects, things like selling your wares, selling your ideas, those sort of things. So with Mercury retrograde, it's a time to go back over and revise, reflect, revisit, reevaluate, reassess. You know, it's a time of reflection when Mercury is retrograde, and Mercury will go back into Sagittarius on the 23rd of December. So going back into a different house for us from the house that he is in at the moment in Capricorn. And then what have I got? Re-entering Capricorn on the 14th of January. So after the new year, going back into Capricorn, but not really out of the shadow period to around the 21st of January, that's when we can implement the ideas that we've reflected upon over this period of time during this retrograde period here. So so this retrograde of Mercury may cause us to, if we can be adaptable, expect some delays with journeys, be flexible. Deliveries for gifts that we might be sending might get a bit misconstrued or slowed up. Communication sometimes can be misunderstood. Sometimes we can have tech issues with our laptops, PCs, phones, or car problems, journey problems, transport issues, things like that can all happen during Mercury retrograde. But also it is a really good time to go back over things and rethink things so that we can move forward when Mercury goes out of the shadow period on the 21st of January next year. And I'm now going to go into the each sign of the zodiac for brief interpretations. So I'm going to start with Aries. If you don't want to listen to all the signs of the zodiac, maybe just scroll along. I don't know if I have time to do the timestamps, but yeah, you can just scroll along and see your rising sign, which will be shown at the 9 o'clock position. So if you bear with me 1 second. So hi there, Aries ascendants or sun or moon, if you don't know your time of birth. Here we've got the chart showing where the new moon will be at the time of the new moon on the 12th of December. So as we can see, it's up here in the 9th house, the sun and the moon and Mars up in this 9th house of Aries. So topics around the 9th house, if you refer to the house chart that I've going to put in the comments below. It's about the higher mind. It was called the house of God in ancient astrology. So it's about themes of either long distance travel, foreign shores, other cultures, philosophical ideas, further studies. It was more about people that had power in ancient times that we would look up to. So people traditionally would be like priests or those hermetic type mysterious people that held knowledge. So it can be the house of finding higher knowledge or further education. It can be about pilgrimages as well as overseas topics. And it can also involve things like the law, courts for people that make decisions, usually solar figures in high places of authority. So we've got Mars up there adding fuel to the Sagittarius fire, adding a lots of excitement, potential for new ideas here, for you to plant new seeds in this area of your life related to all these topics that I just mentioned there. So, but just watch out for potential conflicts, because wherever Mars is, he's the planet of war and battles, conflict, severing ties with his sharp sword. So, you know, potentially there could be some overheated energies that may be expressed in this area of your life. And you should also watch out, Aries ascendant, because Aries is ruled by Mars. So this is a very powerful placement for you, particularly. And you could burn out, really. It's like wanting to do things really fast and impatiently and use all that impetus and initiative that you will be good at. But just watch out for burnout or conflict. So what we also have is Mercury just about, you can see it where there's this S here. This is Mercury at 8 degrees, 28 Capricorn, stationing just to start going slowly backwards. So Mercury's in the shadow period and has been for a while. But this is your 10th house. So this is a very strong area of your life, Aries, where you are, it's called the house of praxis in ancient astrology. So it's action. It's one of the angles of the chart, the 1st, 7th, 4th, and 10th houses. They are the anchor points, the kentrons of the chart. And Mercury up here is about how you are seen in the public eye. So this can be related to your vocations, your status, your reputation. If you're working, it's your career life, what you're seen to do, as you interact with others in the public sphere of life. If you're a mother, for instance, that's what you're seen to do, or a father, and that's what you're seen to do all the time out there in the public world. So Mercury is stationing here, going backwards, so it may initiate reviewing ideas around your work, your occupation, which may improve after Jupiter moves direct on the 31st of December. So at the time of Hogmanay here in Scotland, Jupiter will be moving direct. And this is related to your 2nd house of earnings, money, finances, using your personal resources and skills. So that could be a good time for you. You're going to be reviewing things around work, potentially, your role, dipping, and also Pluto will be dipping his toe back into this 11th house, where he was on the 21st of March, I think, 2023. He went into Aquarius for the first time in 248 years. He's retrograded, but he's slowly moving forward. And on the 21st of January, Pluto will be moving into this 11th house, where he will be for the next 20 years, although he will dip back in September. And then November 24, he will stay in this house here. So this potentially is going to be bringing out big changes, and it may affect your friendship groups, those who you share time with, those that support you, that are seen to be your allies and communities. You know, you might find powerful friendship groups that support you in the future, and also you might find your own sense of power that you have within your own community as well. And also Saturn here in Pisces, I'm just giving a general flavor of these slower moving planets. Saturn in Pisces has now moved direct, and this is in your 12th house. So Saturn, Kronos, Lord of Time, the old man of the Zodiac, he encourages us to do things in a very steadfast, long-term way, thinking about perseverance and the future, with structures and routines that can help us. So there's a sense of seriousness here, endurance in this very hidden house of the 12th house is the place of Saturn's joy. So Saturn is in Saturn's joy here in Pisces, this nebulous sort of free-flowing water sign of the fish. So it's to do with creating something more long-term within your private, hidden area of your life. It's a time to take note of any subconscious messages that come to you either through dreams or meditation, or, you know, something that just comes in, like in the Pisces way of having that sort of openness and flexibility to absorb and tune into these sort of more hidden parts of ourselves. It could be a time where you take more some spiritual practices more seriously and want to master those skills as well, whether it be a hobbit or more retreat-like things, yoga, meditation, journaling, dream journaling, having peace for yourself, or enjoying being in water. That might be another thing for you, because the healing properties of water in Pisces, where Saturn is for the next 2.5 years, may be healing for you. So also Aries, after Mercury moves out of the shadow period, you might be able to move forward with all the ideas and reflections that you've had after the 21st of January, which will also coincide with that Pluto moving into that house of friendship groups and sense of where your tribe is in life. So I hope that's helpful for you. Now I'm going to move along to Taurus ascendant. So here we are, Taurus ascendant. This new moon will be happening in your 8th house of Sagittarius. Let me get my arrow again. Here we go. So this is the 8th house. Here's the sun and the moon here with Mars co-present. So this is related to shared resources, Taurus ascendant, suns or moons. It's to do with other people's money or shared resources, money coming in from your partner or issues related to your partner. It can be about mystical pursuits as well. It's the house, the idle place, which can be related to mysterious pursuits, and it can relate to hopes. Well, it can relate to fears as well, and darker aspects of things, you know, so you can sort of have some anxieties potentially that are simmering here. But there's a new beginning here. With this new moon, there's a potential for hope and positivity and expansion with this area, within this area of your life. And, you know, Mars encourages a sense of using your own initiative to plan forward, to make these seeds of change come into some sense of development and fruition over the next 6 months. Being aware that because Mars is the warrior god, there could be some conflicts and heated discussions and disagreements to smooth out, you know, because he is in the fiery sign of the Archer, and he's already quite a combative energy, particularly in that fiery sign there. And Jupiter on the 19th of on the 19th of December is in your first house here, and he will be trining Mercury in the 9th house. Is that right? Let me just double check that. Yeah, there is a brief. Yeah, because Mercury will be retrograding back. So there is a sense of the trine is a helpful aspect, 120 degrees, and Mercury's at 8 degrees, but on the 19th, that's where there'll be a trine from Mercury in your 9th house of Capricorn, trining to Jupiter in the earth sign of Taurus. So this can potentially give you some positive developments within your own sense, your outlook in life, because the first house is about you and Jupiter is expansive. Jupiter is hopeful. Jupiter wants to learn and make sense of things. And it could be related to some decisions that are made in places of high authority, such as courts, because Mercury is the planet of communications as well, but with some sort of practical themes that are prevalent in your life there. And then Mercury will be returning to Sagittarius on the 23rd. Is that right? Bear with me. My notes may have got a bit scrambled here. Yeah, I've written Capricorn, but it's yeah, Mercury will be going back into this 8th house of Sagittarius on the 23rd of December. So reviewing, going back over shared topics, things that others bring to the table, and a sense of karmic debt. What do you bring to the table? What do others bring to the table? In that sense of making clearer communications, making plans that are going to be more beneficial for the future, bringing to fruition some new ideas planted at this new moon in Sagittarius that will come into fruition by the 23rd of May 2024. So this is a time of great reflection and does involve thinking about other people and how you interact with other people in personal areas of your life and how they see you, how they recognize. It's the house of others' esteem here. And also when we go into the new year, we've got Pluto here moving into a very dynamic area of your life, which is the 10th house of praxis. Pluto did move into here around the 23rd of March 2023 before dipping back into Capricorn. Pluto is Hades, god of the underworld. He is about power. He is about control. He's about regeneration, endings and beginnings, purging out the old with a sense of rebirth and renewal. So this would suggest that whatever you're seen to do in the public eye is about to have a really big shift and a sense of rebirth here. So it could be to do with a different career change or different way that you express yourself more powerfully in this area of public status. So this is a really big area for you, Taurus ascendants, sun or moon, with Pluto shifting there. And that also coincides with Mercury going back into this 9th house here of Capricorn. So that is when you can start to move forward after the shadow period, bringing the ideas, the reflections, whatever you've reviewed and reflected upon related to topics that are really important to you in your life, shared resources, moving forward when Mercury goes back into that 8th house. And then that's when you can maybe implement new ideas and plans. Excuse me, get rid of that. Don't know why that suddenly popped up. Sometimes my computer is highly annoying. I have no idea how to get rid of it. I just changed my taskbar position and I don't know why that's just suddenly come up. So I apologize for this. Not interested in any of the news that comes in because I find it not really truthful. Okay, so let me just pause the recording for the time being. Sorry about that, Taurus ascendants. And just to finish, just to say that Saturn is in your 11th house of Pisces, which is encouraging you to create some healthy regimes within your groups and friendship groups, supportive allies, you know, which may actually be of benefit to you in the long term, because this is the 2nd house derived from your 10th house of career. So that's where Saturn will be for the next 2.5 years till 2026. So thanks for listening. And now I'll be moving on to Gemini ascendant. Okay. This is Gemini ascendant chart. I don't know why that arrow is still there. It is. So Gemini ascendant, this new moon is going to be happening in a very dynamic area of your chart also. This is one of the kentrons or angles of the chart. It's the 7th house of relationships. So the new moon is at 20 degrees, 40 minutes Sagittarius, co-present with Mars here. So it adds a lot of dynamism. It adds potential opportunities if you're in a long-term relationship for something new to manifest or be planted, or give it a new zest of something more exciting or expansive in this area of your life. Or it could suggest for some of you Gemini ascendants that you may have a new relationship beginning. So with Mars here, you may be quite impulsively driven because Mars likes to do things on the spur of the moment, really, without thinking. It's more about feeling and just rushing into things, you know, following that passion, which is very much a Martian type energy. god of war and power, and in this fiery cauldron of Sagittarius here. So that might be something for some of you single Geminis. You might meet somebody as well that sort of represents freedom-loving Sagittarian traits. You know, might be abroad, or it might be somebody that's really very philosophical or very worldly, been traveling, you know, has a really expansive, positive outlook on life. These are the themes that might be happening for some of you Gemini ascendants here. But remember, Mars is the god of war. So he's in this fiery sign of Sagittarius. So as well as impulsiveness and passion, there could be some potential conflict that may flare up. So just take a breather and try not to respond in such a reactive way, which is easy to do with Mars in this fiery sign. So with Jupiter, Jupiter is in this 12th house here of Taurus. And this is like an area of life where Jupiter has been since May and will be in this house for you until May 2024. So it's a very private area of life, Geminis. It's a place of deep reflections and your subconscious mind. It's lending a supportive trine to Mercury here in the 8th house of Capricorn. So we've got the Earth trine here, giving some sense of finding groundedness in this area. And it really brings in about karmic debt. The 8th house is the esteem of others. It's about what you bring to the table. And if you're in a partnership or other people support you in different ways, what they bring to the table. It's money from others. So there's that, you know, and it's about skills that you share. It can be about anxieties and fears, and it can be about deep mysticism as well. So there's a potential supportive energy coming from deep reflections from your very hidden house of retreat. So if I can get rid of all those arrows. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, something that can be grounded in that very practical mercurial sign of the sea goat, the earth sign of Capricorn. And then Mercury will be going retrograde. So reflecting upon shared resources. And then, excuse me, Mercury will be, you know, you'll be looking at practicalities and themes of shared resources. And then he returns to your 7th house of relationships. So really it's about your relationships that are close to you. They can be romantic relationships if you have a partner. They can also represent those at work, or if you have an audience or clientele, it can be about reflecting upon your audience and people that you serve and share quite important times within your life. So there is a time of reflecting upon these things, about communications, interactions and journeys with significant others. And, you know, it could be that you're reviewing how you can serve these people in the future and bringing these new ideas into being, really, over the next 6 months. And then there's a full moon on the 23rd of May 2024 in Sagittarius, when these new ideas, initiatives, plans, seeds of intention may be brought to the fore. And Mercury will be moving direct in January, and then out of the shadow period around the 21st of January, when you can actually implement these ideas and move forward. That's also the same time as Pluto moving into your 9th house here. So Pluto will be shifting into the 9th house of Aquarius on the 21st of January 2024. Big transformational changes, regeneration maybe with your ideas, your philosophies in life, your morals, your ideas, your traveling instincts, finding power in places where you could also be the teacher, using your knowledge, depending on your age and what stage of life you're at. Pluto can be about power, treasures, and working these ways forward with a sense of something new being born, reborn. And it can be to do with spirituality, religious ideas, pilgrimages, places of overseas travel. So it could be a cathartic time of shifts and changes where Pluto will be in this 9th house for the next 20 years. He will dip back into Capricorn in September 2024, but after the end of November 2024, he stays in this house, the 9th house of the higher mind for you, Gemini ascendants. So that is going on. And also we have Saturn now direct in another very powerful area of your life, which is the public status, the house of praxis, what you're seen to do in the public eye, your reputation. It can be to do with your vocations, charitable work, your role in society, and it also can be to do with your career and your occupation. So there's a sense of changing things to make things more structured for the next 2.5 years, with Saturn in Pisces here in your 10th house. So long-term plans that you can bring into the fore and implement are going to be potentially very changing, you know, for your life's direction in your public sphere of life. So I hope that is helpful for you, Gemini ascendants. I will now move on to Cancerian ascendant, or sun or moon if you don't know the time of birth. So here we have the Cancerian house. The new moon will be happening for you, Cancer, in your 6th house, which was known as Mars's joy in ancient astrology. So Mars is in the house of Mars's joy, interestingly. So this house, Cancer, is an opportunity for you to revisit themes about your daily life, your routines, work and service to others. It can be about self-sacrifice and what you do for others every day in a sense of work. It can be to do with colleagues. It can be a sense of routine things that you're not necessarily feeling appreciated for, and it can be depleting. And it's also to do with the house of health as well, your well-being, your physical and mental well-being. It's the house of illness. It's also the house of pets as well, small pets, smaller than a goat, apparently, in ancient astrology. So this is a time, this new moon in Sagittarius, on the 12th of December, for you to really focus upon your own life and everyday life, and how you'd like to initiate new changes and step forward and broaden your horizons and be hopeful and positive and optimistic, using your own initiative with that fiery Mars there, the god of assertion, action, war, battling forward with self-belief here. So there are potentials here for you to plant new seeds that may affect your daily life, that may come to fruition around the 23rd of May 2024. Mercury will be retrograding back. Let me see, let me get rid of this arrow. So Mercury is currently at 8 degrees 28 Capricorn in your 7th house, but he will be retrograding back into your 6th house of Sagittarius. So this is also adding thoughts and reflections, reassessing, reevaluating, revisiting ideas around your own health or your own work life. It's a time of really rethinking things and trying to glean something positive that you can be putting into motion. And when Mercury moves back into Capricorn, clearing the shadow period after the 21st of January 2024, that's when you can maybe move ahead with whatever you have gleaned during this reflective period of time during Mercury retrograde. You may find also people from your past, because Mercury is in your house of personal relationships, might pop up a lot. You might have memories that are really significant to you. You might have dreams, thoughts, deep reflections on relationships in the past. And when Mercury moves direct on the 21st of January, this will be a time where you can implement new changes and move forward, make plans, sign contracts, and have that sense of moving forward, but in a way of practicality, because Capricorn is very much implements a sense of, doing things in a cautious way, but something that can be built upon for the future. And at the same time as that, Cancerian ascendants on the 21st of January 2024, Pluto will go back into Aquarius, which is your house of shared resources or the esteem of others. So there's a sense of stepping into your power here with Pluto, Hades, god of the underworld, bringing that sense of regeneration, renewal, tapping into your power and your treasures that you can share with others in this 8th house of Aquarius. New ideas. The Aquarian symbol is the water carrier, the water signifying new ideas that you can bring to the fore here and work with over the next 20 years when Pluto is in Aquarius. So I hope that's helpful for you, Cancerian ascendants. I'm now going to move on to Leo ascendant. So Leo ascendant, this is happening, this new moon in Sagittarius is happening in your 5th house, which is known as the place of Venus's joy. In ancient astrology, we've got the sun and the moon co-present with Mars here in Sagittarius. So this can give you a sort of an idea that you can plant seeds in new beginnings, implement changes around the topics of creativity, love, romance, fun, entrepreneurial pursuits. And it also may be related to the topics of children, because the 5th house is to do with pregnancy and love, romance, sex, and children. So this is all in the mix here at this new moon, this dark time of year where you can plant seeds of change that can come into fruition by the time of the full moon in Sagittarius on the 23rd of May, 2024. There can be some restless energy around these topics, a sense of impatience, with Mars adding fuel to this Sagittarian furnace in this area of your life, which can be quite irritating and aggravating, with possible conflict and some disagreements being raised around these topics also. At the same time as the new moon, I mentioned it earlier, there's a square energy to Neptune here in the 8th house of Pisces. So this again is really bringing in other people and how you have to work with other people and how they think of you. It's the esteem of others. It's also about anxieties and fears, this 8th house, where Neptune has been since 2012. So you'll be used to these energies, but squaring this new moon, there can be some blockages, some challenges, something to overcome with these foggy, nebulous energies related to Pisces, Neptune here, and the views of others may be highly significant to you, how others think of you at this time of this new moon, where you might not be feeling so much in control. And when we think about Mercury, Mercury is currently here in your house of Mars's joy, the 6th house of Capricorn, where he's stationing retrograde at 8 degrees 28 minutes. So this is a very cautious area of your life, pragmatic, daily routines. You might be feeling quite constricted here, Leo ascendants, the heaviness of responsibility and your duties to others, where you may feel like you're sacrificing a lot of yourself and, offering out service to others. Mercury will be returning to your 5th house of Sagittarius on the 23rd of December, encouraging you to review these topics and revisit, reassess, reflect upon topics around children, creativity, and what brings you joy in life. And then Mercury will begin to move direct at the beginning of the year, but won't be until after the 21st of January, when he will be out of the shadow period, back in Capricorn. And then you can, you can move forward with these new ideas, plans, maybe sign contracts, then come to some agreements with others. Then that's when you can have more clarity to make plans for long-term future initiatives using shared ideas there, something that you can build upon for the future. At the same time as Mercury moving out of the shadow period, you will have Pluto, Hades, god of the underworld, moving into your 7th house of Aquarius, which is related to your personal relationships. So there can be some massive, big changes. There could be some significant endings in some of your personal relationships, because Pluto represents a cycle of death, endings, release, purging, cleansing and renewal, with a sense of regeneration and rebirth. So there could be some new relationships that are going to be very significant to you in the future over the next 20 years. And you finding your own power within relationships in a healthy way, that you can interact with others. And there's treasures within the pain and suffering that we have to go through sometimes in these cathartic changes, Leo ascendants. So just bearing in mind that this is a long-term transit. Pluto will be retrograding back into your house of Capricorn around September 2024 for a couple of months, tying up these issues around service, work, and your health. There can be big shifts that you have to really clear up and cleanse and heal within this area of your life, as Pluto ties up any straggly ends before he moves back into this Aquarian, airy house of new ideas, independence, forward thinking, where he will remain for the next 20 years. So that's something that's worthwhile focusing on, being aware of these simmering issues in the background. And also, where have we got Saturn? We've got Saturn direct here in your 8th house of Pisces, where he moved in March 2023. He's now moving direct. So there is a sense of Saturn talking about resources, responsibility, long-term structures related to shared resources with others. So this is related to using your own mastery and wisdom that you've developed, and making plans for the future in areas that are related to sharing with others in a deeper way. So I hope that's helpful for you, Leo ascendants. I am trying to pause, but anyway, let me just share the screen for the next sign of the zodiac, which will be Virgo ascendant. So hi there, Virgo ascendants. Let us point out where this new moon in Sagittarius on the 12th of December 2023 will be taking place. And it will be taking place in a very dynamic area of your chart, which is known as the 4th house of home and family, your ancestry, your roots, the land where you belong. So there's a sense of new beginnings here happening around these topics. It may involve you having to be adaptable and flexible and coping with some conflicts and discord, disagreements here, because Mars is co-present, combust under the beams of the sun, but still adding fiery outbursts to this Sagittarian area of your life. It may highlight the fact that you feel like you need more freedom around your home environment, because Sagittarius loves to be in the outdoors and have a sense of having breadth of vision, being able to take a breather here. But you can plant new seeds at this time of the new moon that you can bring to fruition by the full moon in Sagittarius on the 23rd of May 2024. So now let's have a little look at Mercury retrograding. Mercury is at 8 degrees Capricorn, 28 minutes, stationing to go retrograde. So Mercury is in the 5th house of Venus's joy. So this, you know, can be a time of you reflecting upon children, topics of what brings you enjoyment in your life, pleasures, fun, recreation. But you will be reflecting and going back, because Mercury is the planet of communication, thoughts and ideas and travel. There is a little trine from Jupiter at 6 degrees Taurus, trining this Mercury around the 19th of December. So these are very earthy areas of your life, very practical areas, to do with your morals and your hopes and your dreams and your wishes, harnessing things around topics around pleasures, love and enjoyment and children. So that can give you a little nugget of hope here while this short-term transit happens for you, related to communications and children and creative projects, romantic interactions and entrepreneurial pursuits, because basically the 5th house isn't always about bringing forth a pregnancy. It can be about what you have to bring forth from your own sense of creativity. So if you have these offerings that you have your own business or ideas of your own business, you know, it can be about these pursuits as well. So Mercury is stationing retrograde in the 5th house of Capricorn, giving you time to think back, and it can be feeling quite heavy around the topics of children as well, responsibilities. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, Kronos, Lord of Time, and he's very much about the old man of the Zodiac and doing things in a certain way and being practical and enduring and working with hardships. So, you know, there can be hardships and things that you're reflecting upon in this area of your life. So it's going to be a time of contemplation. The 23rd of December, Mercury will retrograde back into your 4th house of home and family, again highlighting these topics around your ancestry and your roots, and looking back at the past with topics around home, family, parenting and things like that. At the beginning of the new year, Mercury will move back into Capricorn, but still will be within the shadow period, and then he'll be retracing his footsteps through Capricorn to the 17th of January, but still in the shadow period until around the 21st of January. And that's when you can start moving forward with anything that you have gleaned over this period of reflection with Mercury retrograde, when you've been reassessing, revisiting, rethinking, reviewing and reflecting, you know, these ideas around topics of children, love, romance and family. You can then move forward after the 21st of January. And this also coincides with Pluto moving into Aquarius on the 21st of January, shifting, bringing big regenerative changes to your everyday life. This is also related to your health as well. Pluto, Hades, god of the underworld, you know, he used a bit of, well, abuse as he abducted Persephone from her earth mother, Demeter, in the earthly realms and took her into the underworld. So Pluto, Hades, he's got this reputation of power issues, control issues. But within the dark of the earth, where Persephone lived for half of the year, there are also treasures. There is also working with the darker shadow self to glean truth and power, your own power that you can bring into your everyday life, which is to do with work, service, and your health. So for the next 20 years, there will be this Pluto transiting through this house of everyday life, bringing new ideas with the Aquarian air sign here, forward thinking, new technologies, things that can make life easier in a way, interacting with others and community perhaps, with with Pluto moving into this house, this sixth house of Aquarius. Pluto will retrograde back into the fifth house of Capricorn on the September 2024 for a few months, but in November 2024 he will stay in Aquarius here, where he did dip his toe in around the 23rd of March 2023. So if you can reflect back, if you've got a good memory, I don't particularly have great memory for dates, but if you can think back to March 2023, that's when these shifts or new ideas of finding power and renewal and rebirth and regeneration in this area of your life, you may have felt something possible, and this will be able to be carried forward for the next 20 years when Pluto is in your sixth house of Aquarius. So what else have we got going on? At the time of the new moon, we have got some fogginess as well from this square from Neptune here in, no, that's not it. I'm going into the next sign of the zodiac. Just ignore that. Well, we have got a square from Neptune, but I won't be reading my notes because that's the next sign of the zodiac. The square from Neptune will be from your seventh house of relationships to the fourth house of home and family. So there can be some miscommunications, some cloudy thinking, some nebulous ideas, hopes and wishes, but they need to be grounded. They need to be realistic. With Neptune in Pisces, where Neptune has been for years, since 2012. So you'll be used to this Neptune in Pisces energy, but what will help ground this energy will be Saturn, which is, he's now moving direct through your seventh house of relationships. So there is a sense of encouraging, creating healthy boundaries within your personal relationships, which can benefit you in the long term. And this may be bringing up some topics of long-term commitment in your personal relationships, where Saturn will remain until February 2026. So lots to think about there. Virgo ascendants. So thanks for listening, and I hope that's helpful. Moving on now to the next sign of the zodiac, we have Libra. Libra ascendant, sun or moon, if you don't know your time of birth. This new moon in Sagittarius is happening in your third house here. Third house is the house of communications, your local neighborhood, short-term journeys around where you live, places that you're in around the home. And it can be also related to siblings, aunts and uncles, and friends that you would treat as if they were family. And there's a sort of restless sense of energy here with the Sagittarian nature, wanting a sense of freedom, but also being able to plant new ideas in this area of your life. So it can be to do with teaching, it can be to do with your communications if you work online, something new that you can develop over the next 6 months when the fruition of the new moon can come to full moon in Sagittarius on the 23rd of May 2024. So bearing in mind that we've also got Mars adding fuel to this Sagittarian fire, this fiery, mutable, changeable, adaptable sign, wanting this broad view, hopeful and optimistic energy, expansive. There's a need, though, and an urgency, a drive with Mars in Sagittarius in the third house to use your initiative and create something that you'd like to implement to make changes in this daily life. So be patient here with Mars bringing all that sort of independent, initiating energy, but he is god of war, and he can sometimes be a bit combustious and a bit too fiery in this sign, adding fuel to the Sagittarian fire, as I was saying. So there's a sense of wanting to make some changes to expand in this daily life for you, Libra ascendants. And there is some sort of cloudy square energy coming from Neptune in your daily life of routines in Pisces. So it's important for you to work with a sense of reality as well as being hopeful and using creativity. Neptune in Pisces can be highly inspired, romantic, dreamy, open to trust and faith. But in Pisces, there's a sense of a nebulous energy where you can just like get caught up in the whole sense of, what's the word I'm trying to think about? It's like the whole consciousness. It's like dreamy. It's the whole of everything. So there's a sort of nebulous, ethereal, foggy weather potentially around your daily life, causing squares, a square energy 90 degrees to this potential new change for you. So make sure you've got all the details, because there could be some misunderstandings in your daily life here. And Mercury is retrograde in the house of home and family in Capricorn, stationing retrograde and moving retrograde just after this new moon. So in Capricorn here, this is an angle of the chart related to your roots, to family, to home, to property and the land. So there's a sense of rethinking things here in this sign of Capricorn, which is really wanting something quite solid and practical that's going to be more long-term. So there's a sense of revisiting topics around home and family and property. And then Mercury will go back into Sagittarius. And then that will bring up also these topics of new changes around your daily life. So it's bringing in home and family, reflecting upon what's important to you for the long term, wanting to initiate new plans and expand your horizons and be hopeful and positive and more independent. All of these things are in the mix. There will be a short-term trine from Jupiter to Mercury, coming from the house of other people's money. So there could be some sense of potential rewards coming in from an unexpected source, such as a tax rebate or a grant, or money that comes in from other people that can support you to this home environment, which may involve property and thinking about buying a home, perhaps for some of you Libra ascendants. And then on the 23rd of December, that's when Mercury will be back in the third house of Sag, reflecting upon these things. And then at New Year, Mercury will be back, moving back into stationing direct on the 2nd of January at 22 degrees Sag, then moving back into Capricorn around the 17th of January, but not clearing the retrograde shadow period until after the 21st of January. So be patient, take your time before signing any contracts or making long-term plans for the future that you may have gleaned while you were reviewing, reassessing, reflecting upon things that are more important to you in the life that you'd like to lead ahead within your family and home environment. And this will also involve this transit of Pluto moving into Aquarius on the 21st of January 2024, where he did dip his toe in March 2023. So this is Venus's joy. So the 5th house of Venus's joy, this is where Pluto will re-enter and bringing up some regenerative ideas around love, children. You could find power. There could be really big shifts for you around topics of creativity, entrepreneurship, and this may involve children as well, or new pregnancies and things like that coming into the house over the next 20 years for some of you Libra ascendants. So I hope that's helpful for you. So moving on now into the next sign of the zodiac. I'm trying to talk whilst moving this thing here. So give me a second. I'm moving on to Scorpio ascendant here. Don't seem to have my notes, do I? 7 has moved. Okay. Let me just pause the recording 1 second and bear with me while I try to find my Scorpio ascendant notes. Thank you for bearing with me. Just to finish on Libra ascendant, I also wanted to point out that Saturn is moving direct in your 6th house of Mars's joy, which is here in Pisces, where he will be for the next 2.5 years, encouraging some sense of new regimes around health and work and well-being. So there's a sense of taking things seriously, creating more structures and healthy regimes which will support your health. So if you've had any long-term issues, it's a time of moving forward with this sense of how can your health be improved. Maybe it's to do with your diet, maybe it's to do with recognizing any ailments that you've been suffering that you can face and work out some long-term plan for the next 2.5 years. So I just wanted to add that into the mix, and now I'm moving on to the Scorpio ascendant. So thank you for bearing with me. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel if you like what I'm offering. I am a bit glitchy. It gets really tiring actually doing these long interpretations, which is quite new for me. And it takes a lot of preparation. And obviously I will get better the more I do it, but I'm hoping that it is helpful for you. So let me look at Scorpio ascendant. So this is happening, Scorpio ascendant, suns or moons, if you don't know your time of birth, in your 2nd house of Sagittarius, this new moon on the 12th of December 2023, co-present with Mars. So the 2nd house is about your resources, your skills, your personal skills, your abilities to use your own resources and skills to create money, finances that you can make through your own work life and using your skills. And there's a potential here to develop something over the next 6 months that can come to fruition at the time of the full moon in Sagittarius, which is the 23rd of May 2024. So Sagittarius energy, you could be feeling quite fired up because it's a very restless sign of the zodiac, this mutable yang, masculine, outward expressing energy, excitable, freedom-loving, expansive, positive and optimistic, ruled by Jupiter. It's giving a sense of what is potentially possible, what seeds can I plant here, how can I use my own energy with Mars there, initiative, using your own ideas and independence, adding fuel to that Sagittarian furnace here. So there can be a sense of independence and some frustrations that may irritate you just because Mars likes to do things quite quickly. And at the same time, we've also got a square coming from Neptune in the house of Pisces, which is the 5th house here, to your 2nd house of finances. So this is the house of pleasures, fun, recreation. And as I was mentioning before, the 5th house can be to do with love, romance, entrepreneurial projects as well. So this square, there's something that you need to make sure that you've got the details of if you're running your own business, for example, or have creative ideas that you'd like to share. There's no point being too overly idealistic without grounding it down into some sense of practicality. So don't have rose-tinted glasses and just go all out without seeing the details, because Neptune can be highly idealistic and can be trusting and very, very much driven by trust in the universe. That might work for you, but it's also worth bearing in mind that there are things to overcome before you can make these solid changes in the future. So what else have we got going on? We've also got Saturn here moving direct in this 5th house where Neptune is and has been since 2012. Saturn will be here till 2026, sort of looking at long-term plans. You know, Saturn is about Chronos, Lord of Time, taking time, using your wisdom, using the skills you've gleaned, working out some sense of structure, routine, rituals within this life of Venus's, this area of life related to Venus's joy, about pleasures. It can be about recognizing what's missing as well for you. Some of you Scorpio ascendants, you know, is there a lack of love in your life? Is there a lack of fun and pleasure? Is there too much work? Is there too much focus on finances and trying to get that long-term security? And how can you implement changes in the future? And it is about creating boundaries within this Piscean flowing immutable sign of the zodiac. So it's about not giving away too much of yourself to the point of depletion, and yeah, trying to find a healthy outlet for your creativity and entrepreneurial pursuits, but potentially engaging in some love and romance that you would like to be more permanent for the future. You know, it can be bit challenging with Saturn in Pisces, because Saturn likes to be grounded and earthy, and Pisces is very nebulous. So there can be many changes over the next couple of years as you traverse these this journey of fluidity with this Pisces energy where Saturn is. And then looking into the Mercury retrograde. Mercury is in your third house, which in ancient astrology was called the house of the goddess. So it can be about friends in ancient astrology as well. So it's reflecting upon friendship groups. It's reflecting upon your local environment. It's reflecting upon journeys, routines, until around the 23rd of December, when Mercury moves back into your second house of Sagittarius, again, highlighting topics, thinking about what you can do, how you can implement changes, plans, and ideas. But it is a time of reflection. It is a time of going back over, reassessing, reviewing, reevaluating, revising. You know, if there's some skills that you realize that you don't have all the skills for in the second house here of the new moon of Sagittarius, it's a time where you can revise upon those skills. It's a perfect time when Mercury is retrograde to fill in the gaps in your knowledge there. And then Mercury will move back at the beginning of the year on the 2nd of January. He actually moves direct at 22 degrees Sagittarius, retracing his footsteps. And then the 17th of January, he moves back into Capricorn, but doesn't clear the shadow period until around the 21st of January. So moving forward after the 21st of January with any plans that you'd like to initiate and bring into that sense of planning for the future, to topics that you may have new ideas for that you've planted with seeds of intention at the time of the new moon here. That's when to move forward or sign contracts or start new plans, you know, when Mercury has moved out of the shadow period after the 21st of January 2024. And at the same time, Pluto will also be moving on the 21st of January into this 4th house of home and family. Now, this is a really, really big deal for you, Scorpio ascendants. This is one of the angles of the chart. This is a really powerful area of your life. It's about your home, where you belong, your roots, the land. It's about reflecting upon ancestry, and it's about parenting and family and home. So with Pluto moving into this area of Aquarius, there's going to be a sense of complete regeneration, complete potential new beginnings, purging away the past, releasing things that no longer are healthy for you in these areas. It might be to do with ancestral healing, and letting that go and making space for new beginnings in this area of home and family. And for some of you, it might involve power that you can use to buy property or set down roots as well. Pluto will be moving back into Capricorn on September the 24th for a few months, but November 2024, he will stay in this house of Aquarius for 20 years And if you can remember back to March 2023, he dipped his toe into this area of your life. So anything significant that may have been going on for you, giving you a little taster of what could potentially come into fruition, this is going to be a big shift for you around topics of home, family, property, and ancestry and the land. So I hope that is helpful for you there, Scorpio ascendants. Moving on now to Sagittarius ascendants, or if you don't know your time of birth, you can look into your sun and moon. Now, this is a really dynamic area of life for you Sagittarius ascendants, because it's all happening at the helm of the ship in the first house. This new moon in Sagittarius, 20 degrees, 40 minutes, co-present with Mars at 13 degrees under the beams of the sun, but still powerful, bringing fuel to the fire. So the first house is about you. In everybody's chart, if you've got planets in the first house, it really is about life's lessons and new beginnings in this first house of Sagittarius that you can plant seeds of. Really gives you the opportunity to think about how you want to show up in the world. It's about, it can be about a completely new way of expressing yourself, your identity, your appearance, your health regimes. It can be just new ideas completely that you can plant the seeds of. That can come to fruition by the 23rd of March 2024 at the full moon in Sagittarius. There's a real warrior type energy with the Mars here in Sagittarius already. This is fiery, passionate, expansive, positive, restless energy, wanting freedom, wanting space, and wanting to feel independent. So all of these things can be worked upon at this time of planting seeds at the new moon here in the dark time of no crescent moon in the heavens, planting the seeds in the dark earth that can come to fruition over in the summer of 2024. There's this sort of sense of sometimes maybe coming across potentially as too fiery, too intense, and a bit combative at times with this Mars placement here in Sagittarius. And also it's wise to slow down sometimes, otherwise you can maybe injure yourself. When Mars is in the first house, there's the increased potential for injury, accidents. Watch out for sharp things in the kitchen, or watch out when you're driving. Try to take a breather. Don't respond to road rage or other people's impatience, because you probably already are feeling quite impatient yourself, Sagittarius. So new plans can come to fruition over the next 6 months. You can use this sort of initiating energy of warrior war planet Mars here in Sagittarius. You may feel slightly impatient as well, wanting things to happen sooner rather than later, because that's the sort of energy that Mars has. He's very impatient and impulsive. At the same time, we've got this Neptune squaring from the house of home and family. So there are some potential nebulous, unclear energies that may be affecting your sense of self-expression, freedom, and ability to step out and do things without sort of overcoming some sort of obstacles or difficulties where you have to dig deep. Some cloudy areas, foggy areas, unsure areas around home and family, which can be confusing for you. And it doesn't make it as easy to make plans for the future with this uncontainable influence that you're not, you can't harness it down because it's in this very nebulous sign of the zodiac, Pisces. But we also do have Saturn direct now in this house of Pisces, where he will be for the next 2.5 years. So he does encourage us. I'm saying us because I'm a double Sag, so Sagittarius ascendant for me as well. He encourages us to use our skills, our wisdom, routines, that you can work around, because Sagittarius tends to like to be quite flexible and can adapt really quickly to things. Saturn is in another mutable sign, the water sign of the zodiac. So Saturn can bring up the topics of responsibility around home and family. And, it may be necessary. Otherwise, you can deplete yourself, Sagittarians, to not give too much away to others. Create some sort of boundary or limitation so that you can work through these foggy influences from Neptune in the 4th house of Pisces. and just be adaptable, but be aware of looking after yourself during this time. So also looking at the Mercury retrograde. Mercury is currently just about to station at the time of the new moon in Capricorn, in the second house of your personal resources and skills and money, finances. So it's a time of reflection, thinking about how you can utilize your own skills in a practical way in the future, going back over ideas, slowing down a wee bit here and reflecting on what you can do to bring changes to this area of your life, of where you're able to implement using your own skills and talents. And Mercury will go back into Sagittarius, which is about you again, reflecting upon your own sense of self, your psychology, your well-being and your vitality, a time of reflection, rethinking things, revising things, reviewing things, reassessing things. It's all the RE words with Mercury retrograde. So it's not really a time of making huge shifts right now, but reflecting upon shifts that you can make for the future, that you can bring into plans for the new year ahead, especially after the 21st of January, where Mercury will clear the shadow period and go back into this house of finances and resources to create security for the future. So that's when you maybe want to take on plans, maybe start a new course to highlight your skills or complete something that you've been revising during this Mercury retrograde period. And also at the same time, on the 21st of January, Pluto will be moving into your third house of Aquarius, where he will remain for 20 years. So this will be talking about how you can use new ways of self-expression, maybe teaching, communicating in your local environment. It might use the web, the internet, the communications, how we can do things using AI, things like that. But using your power, using your strength, using a sense of renewal and a new way of doing things in the future is going to be possible for you, Sagittarius ascendants. Pluto in the house of siblings, neighbors, friends, aunts and uncles, could be shifts and endings, beginnings, renewal, something new and transformative around the topics as well of close relatives such as siblings and ones that I've just mentioned there. So that's potentially in the mix for you also. Let me just double check. Yeah, powering up communications and teaching skills with Pluto in that third house, if you use media and sharing ideas with others. And that may have been something that you noticed in March 2023 when Pluto first ingressed into Aquarius, which is a place he's not been for 248 years. So this is a big shift over the next 20 years with Pluto moving into that house, Sagittarius. Starting to lose my voice. And so now moving on to Capricorn ascendant. And if you don't know your time of birth, it will be related to your sun or your moon, Capricorn. So we've got the new moon in Sagittarius happening in this house here, which is the 12th house of Sagittarius. This is known in ancient astrology as the place of Saturn's joy. Saturn being the most distant planet of the solar system that the ancient ones could see with the naked eye. So the 12th house is a place of retreat, privacy, seclusion, and it involves subconscious realms. You know, it could signify a new beginning for you, Capricorn ascendants, where you really want to develop something new that is related to tuning into your higher self, your hidden self, tuning into maybe practices that are very meditative, peaceful, deep dream journaling, for example, yoga, meditation, or anything else that ignites those inner fires and brings you into a sense of knowing your inner self. And that is quite often something that we can do when we're in a place of privacy, when we don't have the distractions of the outside world. And also, this house is also the house of compassion towards others. It can represent places such as places away from the public eye, such as retreat centres, hospitals, hospices, prisons, libraries, those sort of places. So it could be something to do with new beginnings here, where you are offering something of compassion to others that are in need of support as well. And these developments may come to the fore around the full moon in Sagittarius in May 2024, on the 23rd of May 2024. But it does indicate probably a sense of needing to have some privacy and peace of some kind. But Mars may sort of be a little bit irritating and not make that as easy for you to have those times of deep reflection. Although Mars can be great for activating like sporty energies. So maybe some of you loving the outdoors would like to do things in nature that involves using up this sort of fiery Martian expressive energy, but it is a place of deep privacy for you. So with Mercury, and let's see where Neptune is. Neptune is squaring from the 12th house, from the 3rd house of local and communities, environment, neighborhood. So some foggy confusion may be coming from this house here, because there's a 90-degree aspect from Neptune here with the moon applying to this square. So things to overcome in your daily life, may be related to siblings, may be related to some teaching or communication. So just double check that you've got all the details clear before taking them into a place of like privacy where you're mulling over things and it just gets too nebulous and too confusing for you. So check the details with Mercury, with the Neptune square energy there. So we're talking about Mercury going retrograde. Mercury is in your 1st house, which is the dynamic house, the helm of the ship, the house about you. So it's about how you think, how you communicate, how you express yourself. And it is a time of thinking and going back over some things related to this sense of self-expression, to the way that you communicate with others. It's a time maybe of reviewing some of your own health and vitality and psychological makeup with how you show up in the world. And then on the 23rd of December, Capricorn ascendants or Capricorn sun moon, the Mercury will retrace his steps back into this very hidden house of Sagittarius. So, you know, it is a time of really taking some time for yourself, retreating, revisiting, relearning, retouching that inner place of deeper hidden topics about the hidden parts of your psyche. You know, and you may retry some practices that you've tried in the past that have appealed to you. You might practice them and gain a bit more mastery over them if you can slow down. Pay attention to your dreams. Messages that come to you would be quite significant at this point. And, you know, a dream journal, writing down your dreams as soon as you wake up to get these hidden subconscious messages may also be very helpful. So on the 2nd of January, Mercury will revisit the 1st house. So anything that you've gleaned in that private time, if you've managed to do that over this festive time of year, you can then think about how you can implement those changes related to your own way of self-expression, your own sense of identity, how you show up in the world. There will be a shadow period. So maybe not implementing these shifts until after the 21st of January, 2024, when Mercury passes the shadow period, and that's when you can make changes, really move forward with these insights that you've maybe come across during the Mercury retrograde period. And also the 21st of January, Pluto will be moving into your 2nd house of Aquarius, which is where he dipped his toe in March 2023. And this will be bringing up a sense of how you can use your own power, strength, and skills in the area of life related to using your own resources and creating money and finances and security for the future. So this is quite a powerful house for you to dig deep, to tap into your inner self, find the treasures that you hold within, a time of regeneration, transformation, letting go of the past with new beginnings and rebirth and renewal for the next 20 years when Pluto will be traveling through this house of Aquarius. And also just talking about Saturn. Saturn is now moving direct through your third house here of Pisces, encouraging a more serious attitude towards your daily routines in your local environment and neighborhood. It might be about how you communicate and responsibilities that you take on. It might be about teaching, sharing your knowledge within your daily life and making plans for the future. It might involve communicating using the internet, webinars, different offerings that you can reinforce and strengthen over the next 2.5 years while Saturn is in this house of Pisces. So I hope that's helpful for you, Capricorns. Moving on now to the next sign of the zodiac, which is Aquarius ascendant. So Aquarius ascendant, this new moon is happening in the house which in ancient astrology was known as the house of Jupiter's joy, the 11th house. It's related to groups, friendships, supportive friends, allies, your tribe, family, groups, and community that you feel like they're your tribe where you belong, people that support you, people that you resonate with. So there's a chance here with this new moon in Sagittarius on the 12th of December 2023 of planting seeds of new beginnings in this area of your life. So it can be fortune that comes from your career as well that may blossom over the next 6 months when the full moon in Sagittarius comes to fruition from these new seeds and new groups and new courses maybe that you're going to do with new people. That comes to fruition on the 23rd of May 2024. So just to be aware as well that we have got this square from Neptune in the second house of Pisces, squaring this group house here of friendships, hopes and wishes, money and benefits from your career. So this is in the house of your resources and money. So if you are planning to make any new shifts, new changes using independence and inspiration and hope and optimism, growth and expansion with this new moon in Sagittarius energy, just be aware that this high idealism that Neptune may be offering with dreams and fantasies, maybe inspiration from creatively inspired ideas, there can be an over hopeful influence here. So it's really important with the square to, be aware of nebulous confusions from Neptune, unclear feelings, until you know the finer details here, which otherwise you might potentially be led down the garden path wearing your rose-tinted glasses in a very naive manner, influenced from groups of friendships here. So just make sure you know all the fine details there. So Mercury, let's find Mercury in this chart. Mercury is currently just about to station, he's stationing retrograde here at 8 degrees Capricorn in this house of Capricorn, which is privacy, the 12th house of Saturn's joy. So there's a thing of reflecting deeply, inwardly, giving you a sense of using grounded, practical, structured thoughts to any plans and ideas that you hope to implement. And then on the 23rd of December, Mercury will be moving back into this house of groups and friendships, hopes and wishes in Sagittarius. So again, it's all the re words, the revisiting, the rethinking, the relearning, revising, reevaluating things about friendship groups, people that you've maybe outgrown, because we did have the solar eclipse in this house. No, scrub that. It wasn't in that house. It was in Libra, the solar eclipse. But anyway, it's a sense of looking back on friendship groups, revising, reflecting, thinking back, thinking about what's important, what's helpful for you, to bring forward. This also can represent, this house can represent your wider audience. If you use the internet for publicizing yourself, it can be your wider audience as well. So it's a time of reflection and reviewing ideas, maybe revising topics that aren't so well known before you can move forward. And at the beginning of the year, Mercury will move back into Capricorn, but won't clear the shadow period until after the 21st of January. So that's when you can start thinking about implementing these changes that you've reflected upon related to your community groups, maybe starting taking part in a new club, a new group venture that's going to help you move forward with these plans and new initiatives that you can bring to fruition by next March 2024. So at the same time as Mercury clearing the shadow period in Capricorn, we have Pluto going to be moving into Aquarius, the first house about you being in the helm of the ship. So Pluto did visit here, giving you a flavor of what's to come over the next 20 years while he spends this time journeying through this airy house of new ideas, independence, community ventures. Pluto moving into your first house is about you finding your power, digging in deep, a sense of renewal, rebirth, cleansing out the old way of how you expressed yourself. It's like a real regenerative sign of new beginnings in your self-expression and finding your power and how you show up in the world there. So that's a really powerful part of a sense of how you can develop over the next 20 years as Pluto moves very slowly through this house. And I did forget to say, for all signs of the zodiac, if you've got any planets around 20 degrees, so we can go 3 degrees before 17 to 23 degrees of the mutable signs, that would be Sagittarius, Gemini, Pisces, and Virgo. So if you've got any planets that are in the mutable houses between 17 and 23 degrees of the mutable signs, this new moon will be felt more powerfully for you because it will be either conjunct, square, which is a tricky Martian aspect, opposition, needing to find balance, and back to the square again. So yeah, this is, when you have your personal chart done, this is how you can really feel where these new beginnings are happening, because you know which houses it's happening in, and you also can see the other planetary cosmic weathers and how they're weaving into the mix. So I hope that's helpful for you, Aquarius ascendants. And now finally moving on to the last sign of the zodiac. Thank you so much, Pisces ascendants, sun and moon, for being patient. Hopefully it's worth the wait, because this new moon is happening in a very dynamic area of your life. It's the 10th house of praxis up here in the chart. The new moon at 20 degrees, 40 minutes in Sagittarius, co-present with Mars, is in a really visible area of your life. It's very public. It's about what you're seen to do in the public sphere of your life, either your vocations within community. If you're a parent and that's you're out there all the time doing things, that's how you're seen, that's your public reputation. And for those of you that are working, this is about your occupation and your career. So Pisces, this is a really new potential here to make shifts and plant seeds for new beginnings and changes for you in this area of your life that you'd like to bring to the table, expanding your knowledge, a sense of positivity, gaining wisdom, sharing your knowledge. It might be to do with travel, it might be to do with overseas cultures, it might be to do with the great outdoors and sport and space and nature, or it could be to do with philosophical topics, because Sagittarius rules the higher mind, which is to do with spiritual, religious topics and morals. It's a sense of developing yourself and planting this new, the seed in the dark soils at this new moon is allowing it to come to fruition by the 23rd of May 2024 is when these new intentions, if you work with this new intention of the new moon, can come to fruition at the time of the full moon. So what we also have to be aware of is this square from Neptune, squaring your 10th house from your first house. So you will have been aware, Pisces, of having this nebulous, creative, free-flowing, trust in everything, allow the universe to guide me, creative, romantic, fantasy, musical, poetical, artistic energy. This has been in your first house since 2012, but it's causing, well, the sun and the moon are moving into a square with Neptune. So just be aware of not being too overly idealistic at this time, because a square is the nature of Mars, and there can be obstacles that you need to overcome without wearing the rose-tinted glasses that I've mentioned before, where we can just like allow ourselves to be guided, but then we can be deluded and we can be deceived if we haven't got all the right details in place. So, yep, I'm just checking my notes. So now we've got also Saturn has moved into your first house, which is really a very dynamic house. Again, it's the helm of the ship. It's Mercury's joy. It's about how you show up in the world. And Saturn, Kronos, Lord of Time, he is about bringing a sense of seriousness or stepping into your wisdom, your maturity, using your skills, using the mastery that you are gathering through your life. It depends on your age to know how significant this is. Sometimes it can be feeling like burdensome. Sometimes it can make you feel like you lack confidence in this area. Sometimes it might challenge some of your health conditions, psychological health, where you feel restricted or don't have as much confidence. But also, if you're an older person, Saturn in the first house, you can use the wisdom that you've gleaned over previous difficult Saturn transits. Saturn in Pisces is about creating boundaries, structure, routines within this very nebulous house. The fish is swimming in the opposite direction. And if you watch fish in the oceans, if there's quite a lot of fish, they just want to all go in that shoal together. So that's what Pisces can be aware of, the collective of everybody worldwide, aware of sufferings. It can be quite a very sensitive, emotional sign of the zodiac. But Saturn is moving through this first house. So it's a time of implementing new regimes, new routines, working within your limits and creating boundaries in this area of your life so that you can develop yourself and walk your life in the sense of using your own skills and maturity, and maybe taking on some more responsibility. So when we look at the Mercury retrograde aspect, Mercury is currently at 8 degrees Capricorn, 28 minutes, just about stationing to go retrograde. But this is in your house of Jupiter's joy, friendship groups, community. So you could be reflecting upon people that are helpful to you. Your thoughts are going to be going back over your groups of friendships and community and tribe that are supportive to you. In Capricorn, there's a sense of purpose, endurance, things like this that is important and helps you in your daily life with a sense of practical benefits and long-term commitments. And then on the 23rd of December, Mercury moves back into Sagittarius in the 10th house. So this can help you think about long-term plans related to how you want to show up in the outside world, whether it's a new career direction. It's a time of reflecting, revising, reevaluating, reassessing. If there's gaps where you know that you haven't got certain skills that you need, it might be a time of revising on that and thinking about what you might study in the future to fill in those gaps, to give you more strength, to give you more authority in that area of public visibility and status. So rethinking career plans, or, reflecting upon vocations and topics that are really important to you. And then we've got Jupiter will be moving direct in your 3rd house of Taurus at the end of the year. on the 30th of December, which can help move forward within your daily life, within your local neighborhood, within sharing your knowledge, teaching in a practical way, an expansive way, bringing good fortune and opportunities, especially when Uranus moves direct after the 24th of January, which can add more spice to your life, more unpredictable things, a sense of independence, but destabilization, but excitement as well. So also we've got Pluto moving direct, is already moving direct, but moving back into your 12th house of Aquarius on the 21st of January. That's when Mercury clears the retrograde period here. So this is when you can change things in your groups or join new groups or make new plans or start new studies in this new area of your life. And Pluto will move into Aquarius, where he was in March 2023, giving you a flavor of what's to come over the next 20 years. A sign of privacy, independence, deep reflections, mastering skills, finding your own power in this very hidden area of your life. Working behind the scenes is probably going to be something that many of you Pisces are going to be doing over the next 20 years, because the 12th house is where Pluto will be traversing. It depends on your own personal chart to have other planetary placings in your natal chart, but definitely working privately behind the scenes, having time to reflect and do things using your own power in a place of retreat and privacy is probably going to be some of the themes that you're going to be going ahead with. And, you know, you may have felt these energies when Pluto had dipped his toe into this area of your life, March 2023. He will be going back in September 2024 to this area of groups and friendships. So allowing you to tie up any straggly ends with groups that you maybe have outgrown that no longer serve you, before he moves back into this hidden house of Aquarius in November 2024. This will give you new opportunities, new perspectives on your personal strengths that you can use behind the scenes, that you can implement, maybe deep spiritual practices too that connect you to your higher self. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening. This is probably one of the longest videos I've done. I hope you find some of it helpful. Again, if you want to hear more from me, please press the subscribe button, put a comment in below if any of this resonates with you. If you'd like a private chart reading, I really love working with people with their personal birth charts, because this is when you can really bring in all the energies of what's happening in the heavens to your personal natal promise, which is what you're born with for your life's lessons in this lifetime. So may the warm fires of this new Sagittarian moon glow brightly within you. May we send out that positive love and light and hope and optimism, and sharing that to the world for the future. Just the tiniest bit of love and light can really illuminate and give hope. So that's a very Sagittarian message to end on. So thanks very much for listening, and bye for now. I hope to do a full moon in Cancer video, but it's a very busy time of year, so just have to watch this space. Thanks again. Bye for now.